one of your tweets, people are afraid to come off like a jerk, but a lot of problems could be solved in advance by being more of a jerk.
Mhm, mhm. The only people who are afraid to come off like a jerk usually are people who are anxiously attached and insecure already. Avoidantly attached people are sometimes happy to be viewed as a jerk, and securely attached people don't really worry what people think of them because if they're viewed as a jerk, that's a misunderstanding, and you could clear that up pretty easily. So that tweet's a little bit of a trick. The people who are afraid of looking like a jerk need stronger boundaries anyway. Most of the clients who come into me and fix their anxious attachment style with me, that fear that they're unlovable, that they're innately not good enough, they they will put up the smallest boundary and say no to one person, and then they come in and say, Adam, I'm in my villain phase now. I'm like one of those Disney villains now because they put up the tiniest little boundary. So if anybody out there feels like you are so pressed upon in your life that you can't say no, you're not allowed to say no, and then you find yourself repeatedly saying, "Dang, if I had only said no, I would have saved myself so much heartache." Start saying no. Start applying boundaries. Boundaries don't filter out healthy people. Healthy people will talk to you about it. Boundaries filter out unhealthy people. So be a little bit more of a jerk. Be a little more in your villain phase, and your life will get better.
So I guess the misinterpretation of that tweet and why it may come across as controversial is because people may think, oh, you're supposed to come off like a jerk. But that's not really what you're saying. What you're saying is being okay with coming off like a jerk is a side effect of having healthy integration of your aggression, of being able to say what you want, of being able
Mhm.
to defend against what you don't want, having strong boundaries. So you kind of this is a kind of a conversation I have with clients all the time. It's like it's not like getting people to like you is a good idea, but not directly. The way
Mm.
you get people to like you is by developing yourself and reacting in the way that's more according to your principles. And then you kind of, with when it comes to people, let the chips fall where they may. And some people are going to
Mhm.
like you and some are going to dislike you. And as you're saying, it's a filter.
Even that tweet itself is an exact model for how to do it. The people that get mad at me and call me a jerk for telling people to act more like a jerk, they didn't want to learn from me anyway. But the people that want to learn from me will at least stop like you did and ask, "Hey, what did you mean by this? What does it mean to come off as kind of a jerk?" And then we can have a great conversation. So the tweet itself shows you what to do.
When it comes to aggression itself, do you worry that we very much live in a culture that disincentivizes like healthy acts of aggression?
Yes. Yes, I was talking to a brilliant therapist just the other day, and he was talking to me about how most of his clients have an unhealthy relationship with anger and that they're afraid to touch it or feel it. And they bottle it up so deeply that they only feel their anger when it finally overflows as really bad aggression. And so then they're also afraid of aggressive feelings. And remember that, we are very tactile creatures. We brush up against each other constantly. Men are meant to be wrestling and fighting and sparring and playing. Even with our friends, we're meant to be. And I think that aggression is a good thing when it's controlled and appropriate. Anger is a good thing when it's controlled and appropriate. And not allowing anybody to feel any of those feelings at all. We have to live in one giant kindergarten class now. I think that's what's making a lot of people sick. What about you? Do you think so?
I mean, I think so. A lot of people I encounter seem to think that aggression is a one or a zero, very black and white view of aggression. I'm either an angry jerk, as it were, or I am how I am normally. I'm either not expressing aggression at all, or I'm in a total rage. And what I tend to encourage people to do when I'm working with them is to think of aggression as a dimmer switch. And you might think, as you're starting to build a relationship with aggression, you might think, okay, this situation, what level of aggression does it call for? Rarely would it call for 100%, but many situations call for more than 0%. So if you had to think of your aggression as a dimmer switch rather than a normal switch, where would you put it? Would it be 10%? And if so, I would counsel them like, what would 10% aggression look like in this situation? Which is, I mean, this thought process I stole from a kind of therapy called dialectical behavior therapy, which for listeners, was actually developed to help people with emotional volatility. And through this process, you kind of get people to really regularly assess what their emotional reactions are in situations and how they can actually deploy an emotion like anger usefully, because anger is of course so useful. We're so disabled without it.
I agree. It's think of this. In our society, you should have some anger available to you. Let's say you're walking through a grocery store and someone is trying to give you free samples that you don't want. There's no cause for aggression. You say, "Hey, no, thank you. I appreciate that." Let's say that you're walking through the store and there's someone trying to pitch a product to you and they're following you and annoying you and continuing to tell you, "Hey, you should buy it. You should buy it. You should try it. Come try it. Come try it." Then you need to get a little more aggressive to push them back because they're being aggressive to you. Let's say that there's somebody who is doing that and then mixing insults in about how, hey, come on, don't be a cheapskate, don't be a jerk, come try this product. They're being more aggressive, so you should be more aggressive. Let's say now you have your child with you and they're starting to kind of scare your child during this process. You're probably going to get more aggressive. Then, extreme, the 100, let's say someone they're doing that and then they try to snatch your child. Now, maximum aggression is responsible. There are progressions of aggression, even inside a relationship. Let's say your partner is really, really, really wanting to have bedroom time with you and you're just really not in the mood. And they ask, well, there's not a point, there's no reason to be aggressive there. Now, let's say that they're pressuring you more than normal and you could kind of push back a little bit more, maybe ask what's going on. Let's say they're getting manipulative about it and trying to push and pressure you into it. You should get a little more aggressive. Let's say they are like coming on and it's you don't get a choice about like this is maximum aggression. Push them back. There should be levels of aggression as appropriate, dictated based on what the other people in the situation are doing. Your aggression should match their aggression, and it should be driven by your ethics, your goals, and your well-being. All of those three things should be driving your boundaries: well-being, goals, ethics. Those push your boundaries back. If you don't do those, you're not treating yourself like a human being. You're just treating yourself like an object that's there to what, please other people?
A people pleaser. Yeah, as soon
Mm.
as you understand that aggression can be graded like that, you realize it's an instrument you can sharpen over time. You can sharpen the sword, and really, I think all of our emotional impulses are like that.
Do you
And
think
mm,
do you think this is why a lot of men who go join a martial art like Brazilian jiu-jitsu or whatever it might be, or karate, do you think this is why they gain an understanding over those levels of boundaries and disciplines? But yes, because they're getting used to confrontations, but because they now understand the gradations of aggression, do you think that might be why?
it has to be, because that's the secret sauce of martial arts, I suppose. It's the learning to be aggressive with the control, and with it's really the key is the proportionality, the
Right.
ability to be aggressive in a way that's proportionate to your situation is a superpower. And there'll be
Mhm.
people who fall on both sides of that problem. There's people who are too like narcissistic or aggressive. They don't take into account other people's needs at all. And there's
Mhm.
people who are of course the opposite. And both people need to kind of not work towards the middle, but actually they need to expand their range so that they can deal with all the different. Because I think the thing about the reason why personality growth is so important is because there's such a wide variety of situations to deal with in life. So
Mhm.
one tool isn't going to cut it. Like aggression can cut it in many situations, but not all. Empathy can cut it in many situations, but not all. And so I really like to try and advocate developing a personality toolkit to deal with different situations.